Imagine a world without traffic jams. A world where you don't have to sit for hours in a cramped airplane seat to get to the other side of the planet. A world where distance is just a number on a map, not a barrier. Sounds like a utopia straight out of a science fiction novel, doesn't it? But what if I told you that a single technology could turn our civilization upside down, change economics, culture, politics, and even our very idea of what it means to be human? The name of this technology is teleportation. Today we won't discuss whether it's possible. Let's hit the imaginary fast forward button and look into a future where teleportation has become as commonplace as a smartphone in your pocket. What would that world be like? Buckle up, because this journey promises to be more thrilling, and we ask you to subscribe to the channel and comment on the video. You'll help us grow our channel by doing so. To start, let's clarify which specific type of teleportation we're talking about. In science and fiction, there are two main approaches. The first involves creating a kind of wormhole, a tunnel in space-time that instantly connects two distant points. You simply walk through one door and out another, remaining whole and unharmed. It's an elegant and, shall we say, psychologically safe option. The second approach is far more radical and sends shivers down your spine. It's the scan, destroy, recreate method. A device scans information about every particle in your body, its type, position, velocity, quantum state. Then the original, meaning you, disintegrates, and the information is transmitted to the destination, where a specialized assembler, a kind of atomic 3D printer, recreates your exact copy from local raw materials: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and so on. Yes, you heard that right. To move, the original must die. We'll return to this chilling philosophical question, but for now, let's imagine the technology is already working and available to everyone. The first thing that will change beyond recognition is our daily lives. The concepts of home and work will lose their rigid link. Why live in an expensive and noisy metropolis if you can work in an office in New York and live in a cozy little house on the shore of Lake Baikal? The morning ritual will look something like this. You'd wake up, drink coffee with a view of the mountains, then simply step into your home teleporter, and a second later, find yourself at your desk thousands of miles away. Traffic jams will disappear because roads themselves will become unnecessary. Cities will stop growing upwards and outwards, sprawling across the planet. Instead, humanity will evenly distribute itself across the most picturesque and comfortable corners of the Earth. The concept of megacities might even die out completely. Why crowd onto a small patch of land if you can enjoy nature while having instant access to all the benefits of civilization? Tourism will transform into something completely different. Breakfast with croissants in Paris, lunch with pizza in Rome, and dinner with sushi in Tokyo. All of this will be possible to experience in a single day, without spending a single minute on travel. The Great Wall of China, the Pyramids of Giza, the Amazon rainforest will become available to visit on any weekend. Cultural exchange will reach unprecedented scales. People will travel more often, interact with representatives of other cultures, which will, undoubtedly, lead to greater mutual understanding and the blurring of cultural boundaries. The world will become a truly global village. By the way, here's an interesting fact. The amount of information needed to describe a single person at an atomic level, according to various estimates, amounts to about 10 to the power of 28 bits. This number is so enormous that to store it, it would require all the computers existing in the world today, and even that would not be enough. But let's look at the economy. The invention of teleportation won't just cause a crisis, it will trigger a tectonic shift, a tsunami that will wipe out entire industries. The entire transportation industry, airlines, car manufacturers, railways, shipping companies, taxi and delivery services, will become obsolete overnight. Millions, if not hundreds of millions, of pilots, drivers, logisticians, sailors, flight attendants, and assembly line workers will be left without jobs. This will be the greatest structural unemployment in human history. Cars will turn into museum exhibits, airplanes will rust in gigantic hangars, and ocean liners will become floating hotels or be scrapped for metal. Freight transportation will also change. Imagine fresh mangoes from Thailand appearing on a shelf in Murmansk 1 second after they're plucked from the tree. No more warehouses, container ships, or long-term storage. Products will always be fresh, and the scarcity of goods in remote regions will become a thing of the past. This could solve the problem of hunger in many parts of the world. Food could be teleported exactly where it's needed, straight from the fields. Manufacturing is also in for colossal changes. Why build a factory near a source of raw materials or a consumer market if you can instantly move both? Factories could then be placed in the safest and most environmentally suitable locations, for example, in deserts or even in Earth's orbit, so as not to pollute the planet. But behind this gleaming facade of instant travel lie deep cracks, capable of tearing our society apart. The first and most obvious problem is security. If a person can be teleported, what's to stop someone from teleporting a bomb directly into the president's office? Or a deadly virus into the ventilation system of a densely populated city? National borders will lose all meaning. Anyone will be able to appear anywhere in the world, bypassing border control, customs, and visa services. This is paradise for smugglers, spies, and terrorists. Of course, governments will try to take control of the technology. There will be teleportation customs, special zones where you can arrive and depart. Every teleportation will be tracked and its contents scanned. But then another problem emerges: total control and the loss of privacy. If a teleport scanner reads information about every one of your particles, it knows absolutely everything about you. Your physical condition, any illnesses you might have, what you ate for breakfast. And if the scanning extends to your brain, it will be able to read your thoughts, memories, and fears. Every one of your jumps will leave a digital footprint, a complete copy of your body and consciousness in some database. Any secret, any personal information will become the property of corporations or special services controlling the teleports. But what about inequality? It's highly probable that, at first, teleportation will only be accessible to the ultra-wealthy and the world's most powerful. They'll be able to live in their idyllic retreats, instantly moving across the globe, while the rest of humanity will still be stuck in traffic. This will create a new, unprecedented class divide. The world will split into those who can jump and those who are bound to the earth. This could lead to social unrest and revolutions. Even if the technology becomes cheaper over time, just as it did with mobile phones, there will always be those who cannot afford it. And that's before we even get to the military aspects. An army able to instantly redeploy troops and equipment anywhere on Earth would gain an absolute advantage. Troops could be landed right behind enemy lines, directly into their command center. Missiles and bombs would become anachronisms. Why launch a ballistic missile that takes 30 minutes to reach its target, when a nuclear payload could be delivered in a fraction of a second? The arms race would escalate to an entirely new, terrifying level. Perhaps the only deterrent would be the understanding that a retaliatory strike would be just as instantaneous and unavoidable. Now let's return to the most important thing, to the question we put aside at the beginning. The question of identity. If teleportation works on the scan, destroy, recreate principle, then are you, the person who emerges from the receiver, the exact same person who stepped into the transmitter? Your body is a perfect copy. Your memories, your character, your feelings, everything has been copied with absolute precision. The copy won't even notice the switch. It will believe it's the original, remembering how it stepped into the teleport booth just a second ago. But what happened to the original? It was destroyed, disassembled atom by atom. This means that every single teleportation is an act of suicide and the simultaneous birth of your clone. This paradox is known in philosophy as Theseus's ship. If all the planks of a ship are gradually replaced one by one, does it remain the same ship? In our case, the question is even more acute. We're not talking about gradual replacement, but complete annihilation and recreation. Is consciousness preserved in this process? Is the soul transferred if you believe in one? Most people would likely answer no. They would perceive teleportation as disguised murder. Perhaps entire religions and philosophical movements would emerge, opposing teleportation and calling it a suicide machine. Now picture this, a system glitch. The machine copied you at your destination, but forgot to destroy the original. And just like that, there are two of you. Two absolutely identical people with identical memories, both absolutely convinced that they are the real one. Which one of you has the right to your life, your family, your bank account? Who should be considered the original and who the copy? But what if this technology could be used for intentional copying? To create an army of perfect clone soldiers? Or to copy a brilliant scientist so he could work on several projects simultaneously? That would open a Pandora's box of ethical dilemmas so profound that all our current debates would pale in comparison. Perhaps society will find a way. Maybe people will just embrace the new reality. They'll say, yes, it's a copy, but it's no different from me. It has an unbroken line of my memories. So, what's the difference? Psychological continuity will become more important than physical continuity. But the fear of death, hardwired into us by nature, will be a powerful barrier. Imagine the ad slogans: teleportation, the new you, safe, fast, and you won't even feel a thing. That sounds terrifying. Even if we opt for the safe option of wormhole teleportation, the challenges will remain. Control over the portals will become the key to global domination. Whoever controls the gates controls the world. They could isolate entire countries simply by disconnecting them from the global portal network. Economic sanctions will take on a literal physical meaning. But what if the portal closes while you're halfway through? Or what if the coordinates are entered incorrectly and you're ejected into deep space or into the core of a star? Any complex technology carries risks, but the risks of teleportation are existential. Let's indulge our imagination a little longer. How would teleportation transform our relationship with our own bodies? If you can be disassembled and reassembled, why not make some improvements along the way? Eliminate excess fat, correct genetic defects, rejuvenate cells. A teleport could become the ultimate tool for eternal youth and health. Every morning you step into it and emerge a slightly healthier and younger version of yourself. But where is the boundary beyond which you cease to be yourself? If you change your body and perhaps even modify your memories, removing traumatic events, do you remain the same person? Space colonization will become child's play. There will be no need to build giant generation ships, traveling to the stars for hundreds of years. It will be enough to send an automatic receiver to a distant planet, which will assemble itself from local materials and then simply transmit information about the colonists there. Humanity will be able to spread across the entire galaxy in mere decades. But this will give rise to a new problem: separatism. Colonies located light years away from Earth will develop in isolation. Even with instantaneous teleportation, information transfer will be limited by the speed of light. A conversation with a colonist on a planet near Alpha Centauri will have an 8-year delay. These new worlds will quickly acquire their own culture and self-awareness and most likely will desire independence. Ultimately, one thing is certain: the invention of teleportation will be for humanity both its greatest gift and its most terrifying curse. It has the power to unite us, solving the problems of hunger, distance, and cultural disunity. Yet it is also capable of destroying our economy, our privacy, and our very notion of self. It is a technology that calls into question the fundamental foundations of our being. It compels us to ask, what is I? Is it simply a collection of atoms arranged in a specific order, or something more? The world after the invention of teleportation will not be like ours. It will be a different civilization with different values, different fears, and different dreams. Perhaps they will find answers to all those complex questions we've asked today, or perhaps they will make mistakes that lead them to disaster. One thing is certain: it will be the most important and most dangerous test in the history of the human species, a test of maturity. And its outcome will determine whether teleportation becomes the wings that lift us to the stars, or the guillotine that severs our brilliant future from humanity's brief, brilliant history. And now, ask yourself one simple question. If tomorrow a teleport door opened before you, leading to any point in the world, would you step inside? Knowing everything we've talked about today. Knowing that perhaps on the other side only your perfect copy would appear, and the original would simply cease to exist. Think about that. The answer might tell you more about yourself than you might imagine.